In the previous videos related to multiplication of negative integers, we saw that if only one negative integer is involved in a multiplication, then that multiplication will always give a negative answer. That is, whatever integer will get as the result of that multiplication will be negative. And if the multiplication involves two integers, then you'll get a positive result. That is, the integer that you'll get in the form of result of that multiplication of two negative integers will be positive. And let's just repeat it here. Like if you have 1 multiplied by, say, -2, right? Here you have only one negative integer. Therefore, your answer will, or the result will always be negative, and it will be -2, right? So we can say that if a times minus b, then you will have, the answer will be minus a times b, as the result will be negative. Now what if you have two negative integers? Suppose you had -1 and you have multiplied by -2. Then here, if you remember, we discussed or we learned that if two negative integers are involved in multiplication, then the result or the answer will always be positive. So in this case, you will have a positive result, and there's no need to write a plus sign, therefore it will be just a 2. And therefore we can say that if minus a times minus b, if this is the case, then you'll have no need of minus. In this case, you'll always get a positive result. Therefore, you'll have a times b. Okay, so till now we have discussed this. What if you have three or more multiplication of, three or more integers, negative integers involved in a given multiplication? That's what we have to discuss in this video lecture. So suppose you have three negative integers. Okay, you have three negative integers, and let's say you have -1 multiplied by -2 multiplied by -3. Here you have three negative integers. So what will be the result here? Again, if you have three negative integers, your answer will be again negative. Okay, your answer will be negative. So in this case, your answer will be negative of 1 times 2 times 3. 1 times 2 times 3. And you can check it like this. You have -1 times -2 times -3. And you can first combine these two, that is -1 and times -2. This big bracket closed, and then you have -3, right? So this is -1 times -2, that is, you have only two negative integers. So by two negative integers logic, here you will have a positive result. Therefore this will be just 2, right? 1 times 2 is 2, and two negative integers are involved, therefore the result in this case will be 2. So 2 times -3, right? Now you have one positive integer and you have one negative integer, and this case will be involved here. That is, you have one positive integer and you have one negative integer, therefore your answer or the result of this multiplication will be negative. So in this case, you have one positive and one negative, therefore this will be minus times 2 times 3. And this will be -6, and that is what you would have got from here. That is, this would be -6, right? So we just elaborated the steps here, that how you got up to this position or this answer, and we just elaborated these steps and showed you that, okay, if you're getting -6, then why is it so? So these were the steps. So that means that if one negative integer is involved, then your answer will be negative. If two negative integers are involved, then your answer will be positive. And if three negative integers are involved, then your answer will again be negative. What if you have four negative integers and it's like -1, multiplied by -2, multiplied by -3, and multiplied by -4. What if this is the condition? So even in this condition, you can elaborate the steps and find answer. So it will be like first combine these two, right? Combine these two. Okay. So if you do solve this, you have two negative integers. So of course, the multiplication of two negative integers will be positive, and in this case 1 times 2 will give you 2. So this is 2 multiplied by, in this bracket, big bracket, you have again two negative integers. So multiplication of two negative integers will be positive, and in this case you have 3 times 4, this will be 12. Therefore your answer will be 24, right? So here you got a positive answer. So we can say that if you have four negative integers, then simply what you have to do is forget about minus sign and just put the integers and multiply them, right? Just multiply them, and in this case you get the answer. So if one negative integer is involved, then you have result will be, the answer will be negative. Two negative integers involved, the answer will be positive. Three negative integers involved, the answer will be negative. Four negative integers involved, the answer will be positive. So for one negative integer, for three negative integer, you're getting a negative. You have getting a negative result, or say whatever answer you get will be with a minus sign, right? For 2 and 4 negative integers, you have a positive result. You have a positive result, or the answer will be positive one. So since we don't need to write a positive sign, therefore we'll ignore this. Therefore, remember a rule, and the rule is that if any given multiplication involves odd numbers of negative integers, again, if any given multiplication involves odd numbers of integers, then that will be, the answer will be negative. That you'll have to put the minus sign and just simply multiply all those digits. So 1 and 3 are the odd, these are the odd digits, odd numbers. So if a multiplication contains odd number of digits, then the answer will contain negative sign, right? Or will contain minus sign. Your answer will always contain minus sign. And if your multiplication has even number of digits, like if you have 2 negative digits, 4 negative digits, or 6 negative digits, or 8 negative digits, number of digits, then these are even numbers of negative digits. Therefore your answer will always be positive, or it will not contain a minus sign. So let's take an example. Say your multiplication has odd numbers of integers, negative integers. So say, we have seen for 1, we have seen for 1 negative integers, we have seen for 3 negative integers, and now let's take 5. So if you have -1 times -2 times -3 times -4 times -5, right? So this multiplication contains 5 negative integers. So this has 5 negative integers. Therefore, the result will contain the minus sign, will have the minus sign. So just put here minus sign and 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5, and your answer will be minus. So 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6, 6 times 4 is 24, and 24 times 5 is 120. So this will be the answer. Now let's suppose that you have here 5 negative integers. Okay, you have 5 negative integers, and even if it would have contained, say, any positive integers, say suppose it was times multiplied by 7, multiplied by 8, multiplied by 10, or whatever, right? So if this contains only 5 negative integers, and it doesn't matter what other digits are, like if they all are positive, then again you will have a minus sign. What matters is what number of negative integers you have in a given multiplication, right? So here you have only 5 negative integers, but here you have 3 positive integers, so these will not make any effect on, on the sign. What matters is the number of negative integers. So negative integers are 5, therefore minus sign. And in this case, since you have now 7, 8 and 10, therefore just expand your bracket. Okay. So this will be times 7 times 8 times 10. Okay. So this will be, you have to multiply, and this will not be the answer. This will not be the answer. And now you have to multiply it, and whatever you will get will contain the minus sign. Okay, so you just multiply this and put minus sign here, and you will have whatever answer comes here will be the result. Okay, similar goes with the even numbers of negative integers. Say you have minus 1, okay, times minus 2 times minus 3, and then you have say 4, and then you have 5, and then you have minus times whatever, say 6. Okay. Now in this case you can see that you have 4 here, you have 5 here, you have 2 positive integers. Again, that these positive integers will not decide whether your final result will contain minus sign or not. What matters is, what factor that will decide is how many negative integers you have in your multiplication. So in this case you have 1, you have 2, you have 3, and you have 4 negative integers. Now since you have 4 negative integers and 4 is an even number, and we know that if you have even numbers of negative integers in your multiplication, then your answer will not contain minus sign. Your answer will be positive. That is, it will have plus sign. No need to write a plus sign, therefore you just ignore it. So your answer will be 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 times 6. Okay, so just multiply it. So 2 times 1 is 2, times 3 is 6, times 4 24, 24 times 5 is 120, and 120 times 6 is 720. So you could see here that doesn't matter where these positive integers are placed within a given multiplication. Okay, that doesn't matter. What matters is the number of negative integers. Okay, it could have been like 4 multiplied by 5 would have been here at this starting position. Doesn't matter. Position of these negative integers and positive integers doesn't matter. What matters is the number of negative integers in a given multiplication.